I was able to help this client pay CRA $171,000 less dollars in taxes by this simple strategy. It's all around estate planning, tax planning. Let's jump into it. I think one thing all of us watching this video can agree on is we'd like to pay CRA less money in taxes. They get enough already, they're always at our pockets. Are there ways to legally pay CRA less in taxes? Of course there is. Proper tax planning, proper retirement planning can make a massive difference. And so in this video, I want to break down a few simple steps that you can do on your end to make sure that you're putting more money back in your pocket and less to CRA. And it's also going to help your estate. Now, when I talk about estate planning, there's two parts to estate planning. Part one is your will, maybe power of attorney, legal documentation. That's basically saying when you pass away, here are the people or the organizations that get my money. But the other half of it is to make sure that if you have anything left, that the most amount possible goes to those people versus CRA. So when we talk about tax planning and reducing your overall taxes, we look at two things. We look at how much tax are you paying while you're alive, and then we also look at how much tax are you paying on death. And remember, this is where the RSP meltdown plays a key role. Because if we can melt down that RSP, when you pass away, if you have any money in your RIF at that point, if you have a spouse or common law partner, it would roll to them. But on second death, it will go into your estate. And it's added as income, meaning that if you have $300,000, $500,000 left in your RIF, almost half of it will go to CRA in the form of taxes. We need to make sure we avoid that. So let's jump in and look at a very simple illustration here. And this couple here, so they're a 66-year-old couple, they're retired, they're drawing a very nice income, $6,000 a month after tax. They have about $750,000 value in their accounts between their TFSA and RRSPs. They've started old age security at 65, they're delaying CPP till 70. But they haven't done any RSP drawdown. And this is a very typical client that comes into our office that hasn't done proper planning. They're taking somewhat of the minimum out of their RIF account, and they plan to do that forever, and then they're complementing the rest of their income with TFSA. Now their strategy is, look at them, if I don't spend $72,000, I'll take less out of my TFSA and it'll grow. And that's a great strategy, but they're missing the tax planning on the RIF drawdown. So you can see there, Mr. YouTube's taking the minimum out, Mrs. YouTube is doing the same on her end. So very simple strategy. It looks good. They feel good because they've delayed CPP, they've listened to the videos and they've done that and they've helped themselves. But if I go back and look at their overall tax bill, if we look at their income tax combined and click on that, we'll see that the total tax bill is $253,000. That is the total amount of federal and provincial tax that they will pay between now and age 90, which is life expectancy that I put into the plan. So if we scroll down, we can see age 90, the money is basically run out and they have about $40,000 left. But what I want to look at is that $253,000 that they're paying while they're alive. And if they pass away at life expectancy, let's just grab 86 for this illustration, they're going to have a tax bill of $106,000. So their estate, if I click on there, we'll see their estate is worth $269,000. Their tax on estate is $106,000. So they will be left with, or their loved ones, charity, whoever they're leaving the money to, will be left with $163,000, which is worth $109,000 in today's dollars. So again, $253,000 tax while alive, $106,000 while dead. You're paying CRA $359,000 of taxes in this scenario. Most would say that's not a great scenario. Now let's look at the same Mr. and Mrs. YouTube, but the only change here is I've gone into both of their accounts and strategically drawn down the RIF. You can see I've overridden it with about $30,000, then $20,000 once their CPP starts. They're still touching their TFSA every year, a little bit, just depends how much cash flow they need. But when we go back to the combined view and look at the overall tax bill, so again, let's look at tax while they're alive. If we click on that, $188,000. So that's the total tax bill they'll pay from now until age 90. If I scroll down and look at their estate at age 86, you'll see it's zero. And if I click on here, we're going to see that their estate before tax is less, 206, whereas before it was higher, but because there's no tax on the estate, we're left with the full 206, which is worth 139 in today's dollars. Much more going to your loved ones, charity, whoever you're leaving it to, and the total tax bill you paid while you're alive and at death is $188,000. So in scenario one, total tax bill is $359. Now we're at $188. We're saving $171,000 just with this basic, simple change to how they're drawing money out. And I talk to all of you day in and day out on the phone. We do plans for you. This is a very, very typical scenario that we see. In fact, most of you aren't delaying CPP. There's other things that we've just by default put in here that you're not doing. You're paying too much tax. There's three things I always want you to look at when you build a plan or when you have your planner build a plan is your net after tax. How much money am I going to have after tax in my pocket? That's the most important. Because even if you pay way less tax, but you have way less money in your pocket, I don't think that's a benefit. You want the most amount in your pocket. So that's number one, net after tax amount in your pocket. The second thing you want to look at is the total tax bill that you're going to pay through retirement, right? So, okay, I have more money after tax. I've reduced my tax bill. And then look at your estate plan. How much is left after tax to your estate? And in this scenario here, we're able to increase the payment net after tax a little bit, massively reduce the tax bill, and create a much better estate for this person. So again, you want to make sure you're touching all three of these things. But going back to how do we pay CRA less money? It's through simple tax planning like this. I think a lot of us think, oh, we need a trust and it needs to be complicated and there needs to be all these different things in place. Look, this took me maybe 15, 20 minutes to do. This is a very simple strategy, but it works. And I think you need to start rolling out the simple strategies within your retirement plan to start making massive differences on how much you put in your pocket and how much you put in CRA's pocket.